Karaoke is a platform for young aspiring singers to shine and express their musical abilities. Tune in to CBC TV8 on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. and repeat it on Saturdays at 2 p.m. and enjoy the performances of these talented young singers.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities. Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aa.grant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kia Lewis, General Practitioner and Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. Good nutrition starts at home. So this school year, I want you to consider packing healthy, nutritious snacks and lunches for your children to carry, rather than having them buy them at school. And don't just pack things you think they should have. Have a discussion and come up with things that you both know they will enjoy.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
My friend, you don't plan to get her? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it. Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
I'm Anne St. John, a consultant pediatrician. When packing healthy lunch boxes, do include a fruit, which includes a banana, apple, orange, or grapes to supply fiber. Aim for low-calorie packaged snacks without the mention of flour or sugar amongst the four ingredients on the back label. 1 in 3 children in Barbados is affected by overweight or obesity. Let us join together as parents and care providers to reduce the further development of this chronic non-communicable disease within our communities.
Kids Karaoke is a platform for young aspiring singers to shine and express their musical abilities. Tune in to CBC TV8 on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. and repeat it on Saturdays at 2 p.m. and enjoy the performances of these talented young singers.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and
Good morning, I'm Wendy Burke, and this is the CBC Morning Report for Monday, December 18th. This morning's newscast is brought to you by Jordan Supermarket. In our top story, with the women of the Commonwealth being the ones who are severely impacted by climate disasters, the Secretary General has hailed them as champions in the environmental fight. Baroness Patricia Scotland, speaking with Morning Report, says with every disaster and tragedy, women are most impacted.
If you look at every single disaster, the tragedy is women are disproportionately disadvantaged and affected, and so are their children. And what has been warming is if you look at the people who are fighting and talking effectively on climate, many of the climate warriors, they're women. And why? Because we are the mothers, we are the daughters, we are the sisters, and we are the ones who are watching our families disappear, and we're fighting for them. And I think you can't think of a better, bigger, more wonderful, eloquent champion of climate than the magnificent Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who isn't just a champion for Barbados and the Caribbean and the Commonwealth. I think she's become a global icon of the fight.
The Baroness also spoke to the work being done on the blue economy. She believes not enough is being done to protect it, and many of the Commonwealth's Caribbean countries are surrounded by water. She gave the Seychelles as an example, which has been saving its bodies of water.
We have to do a lot more. You'll know that that's the position that the Commonwealth adopted way back in 2018 when we came up with the Commonwealth Blue Charter, because we recognize that although many of us globally had signed up to the various conventions and treaties in relation to ocean, we weren't actually delivering action on the ground. And so that Blue Charter put in place 10 action groups to which our member states in the Commonwealth committed themselves. And the good thing is, if you look at the baseline of where we were in 2018, and you look at where we are now, there's a direct correlation between what we in the Commonwealth, with our countries working together, have done to improve the situation. But we've had virtually no money. When you look at the amount of money spent on oceans, it is only, I think, 0.57% of all the money given to philanthropy goes to oceans. Only 2% of all the money that goes to SDGs is about oceans. And yet oceans are what represents 71% of between 71 and 75% of the world. And that means the planet is really a blue planet. But we also know that if we can get the money into the hands of our member states, who are the guardians of the ocean, and the Commonwealth has more than a third of the oceans under national jurisdiction, they can make a difference. Look at what Seychelles has done. Seychelles have now, 10 years before they were asked to, managed to secure a protected area. They have also put the ocean, for which they're responsible, under 100% management.
The Baroness also used as an example her Caribbean home of Dominica, which is attracting whales to its waters.
Dominica has just created a sanctuary for the sperm whales. So our member states are doing everything they can, but it's not enough if the rest of the world doesn't help us to do it. So we're also looking at how to use debt swaps, because we need the money. Seychelles managed to get $21 million by way of a debt swap for ocean development. Now, we've got to do much more of that, but we are saying, and I have been saying here at COP, we must concentrate on our oceans.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, the U.S. sends another senior official to speak to Israel on the war in Gaza.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack, or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Al's.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will push Israel officials today to define milestones for its war against Hamas in Gaza. This marks the second visit of a top Biden administration official to the Gaza region aimed at communicating U.S. expectations as civilians' casualties mount.
Lloyd Austin is currently in Bahrain. He'll also be coming to Qatar as part of his Middle East tour. Earlier this month, Austin warned the Israeli government that it risked a strategic defeat in Gaza if it failed to protect Palestinian civilians. Shihab Ratanzi has more for us from Washington, D.C.
For the last several days, we've been getting these reports that the Defense Secretary will be talking to the Israelis about the next phase of the military campaign, which will be apparently these targeted small groups of Israeli commandos going in trying to track down Hamas. But then when you look down always at the next paragraph, it's entirely up to Israel when they begin that next phase. In the meantime, Israel can do whatever they want. There are no red lines. So again, it's a bit more of that pivot, isn't it? It's trying to make us all concentrate on what will happen after what's happening right now. Get everyone to say, oh, Austin's talking about reducing civilian casualties. In the next phase, though, whenever Israel decides that next phase it's ready for the next phase, if there ever is even indeed a next phase.
Meanwhile, Palestinians have been rushing aid trucks as food and other vital supplies are hard to come by.
We are at the southern western side of Rafah city. This particular area is an evacuation zone. This is the other side of Al Mawazi evacuation zone, where 25,000 Palestinian displaced, hungry, thirsty, and more profoundly traumatized Palestinian being displaced into this area. And in the building behind me, that is the Qatari hospital under construction. 25,000 people with only one source of water, 5,000 liters of water available every day for 25,000 evacuees and displaced Palestinians. When we look at the number of people and the amount of water, we can understand the level of difficulty people are going through. This building right here is still under construction. It lacks the very basic essentials, the food supplies, the water supplies, sanitations, and the hygiene facilities that are important for the survival of human beings. The area outside the hospital where people have set up their tents, there are piles of garbage mounting around the area, causing and threatening public health and the threat of the spread of infectious diseases around the area. Everywhere you look, there are piles of this garbage around the area. There's also the fear of rain and water, because it can cause a great deal of a flood in this area. Gaza winter can be cold, can be wet, as well as possibility of flood can occur. The living conditions of people in this area are very difficult. And in comparison to where people or where they stayed before, their livelihood, one person in a very frustrating tone described how his life has changed dramatically. He lived in a concrete home with all he needs, all the basic supplies from water, food, and medical supplies. Found himself here in a makeshift tent, a nylon and plastic tent here in this evacuation zone.
The situation is very difficult. No toilets, no food, no water. We buy drinking water every day, but many people don't have any money to buy anything. Our children are suffering from the lack of toilets, and we worry about their health.
This is how an evacuation site in Gaza looks like. As you can see, it lacks the very basic sanitations, the very basic hygiene facilities. We're looking at a concrete skeleton where hundreds of people in the buildings in different floors trying to live their life with the basic minimum of living conditions. If they need water, they have to walk a distance away from this building to get their 1 gallon of water. If they need to use a toilet, it's also another journey in the open area to use the toilets. Each passing day in the evacuation zone represents an increasingly very difficult day for displaced Palestinians who have become thirsty, hungry, and more profoundly traumatized as the war continues to pound the Gaza Strip from north to south.
Time to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados. This morning, we'll get to speak to an HR professional about how she's been rewarded for her management. We will also get to hear a husband and wife couple about a book they wrote promoting Barbados. Yes, they've put the country into pen and paper so that little ones can get to know what Barbados is all about. Also, we will be talking reparations and the Windrush. We'll be having Selena Green and Buddy Larrier along. We will also be hearing some Christmas music. Yes, we'll get to speak to Mikey Mercer in person about his new song, and we'll also get to hear Nisha Woods and what she's put out for the Christmas season. So we'll be having all this and more in studio this morning for Morning Barbados. More news, sports, and weather after the break.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is seeking to purchase a laser soon to be able to better deal with kidney stones. Urologist at the QEH, Dr. Wanda Bellamy, says currently patients have to seek laser medical attention from private practices, but there's a plan to change that. Dr. Bellamy, the only female urologist in Barbados, was speaking on Public Affairs One-on-One last evening, which aired on CBC TV 8.
The ways how we can manage stones that are in the kidney or in the ureter. This is surgically now, not medically, but we can do endoscopic surgery, which means there's no cutting, and enter the urine tract with small cameras and laser those stones. Now, although I say that, unfortunately at the QEH we have not yet attained a laser to do that. That is available in the private sector, however, and we will obtain a laser in the near future so that we can offer these services to our patients.
Attorney General of Barbados, Dale Marshall, says one of its goals for 2024 is to see a more responsive judiciary system. Speaking at his annual Christmas luncheon for senior citizens in his St. Joseph constituency, Mr. Marshall stated that the aim is to reduce the number of unheard cases pertaining to murders and firearms. He added that going into the new year, more procedures and legislation will be introduced to make the criminal system more efficient.
We set a target in the criminal arena to try to reduce the number of murder trials, firearm trials, and so on. From the high level that we're at. And as you would know, we've introduced additional judges. We are about to introduce new criminal procedure rules, so that's on my wish list for next year. A new piece of legislation dealing with judge-alone trials. Other important piece of legislation are on the horizon.
Back at 2023 in general, he's happy with the progress law enforcement has made in the country.
Being in government is not so simple as waving a wand and saying do this or do that. Whatever is done in my constituency has to take into account the overall effort of the Ministry of Public Works and so on. So it's been a year of many blessings, I think, but as we turn the corner into 2024, I really hope that we'll be able to get some of the major roadworks in this area finished. But as I said, all of Barbados is crying out for bad roads, so we know it's not just us. But we've been suffering probably longer than most.
Guyana's Vice President, Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, has expressed disappointment at some of the outcomes of the recently held Climate Change COP28 conference in Dubai. The conference, which got underway on November 30th, closed on December 12th. NCN-TV reports.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, knows that while discussions on mitigating climate change, he is displeased that the discussions like Article 6 that could benefit forested developing countries have not advanced.
We thought that advancing the carbon markets will create greater incentives for countries that are forested to ensure that they can raise money through the market mechanism to outcompete alternate use and therefore preserve their forests without taking away the forest as a development tool.
Dr. Jagdeo says Guyana is a great example of how developing countries could preserve their forests while still gaining economic development for its people through the historic $750 million carbon credit sale to Hess Corporation in 2022. He also expressed disappointment in the richer countries omitting their commitment to provide climate adaptation funding to smaller countries, which also need to adapt but don't have the funding.
When the language came up that they must provide predictable long-term financing, they struck that out of the text. And so we leave COP28 without any long-term predictable financing at scale for adaptation for these countries, and it's a pity.
The General Secretary also re-emphasized his disappointment in the just under $500 million loss and damage fund that was agreed to, saying that this is insufficient.
Economic relations between St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago have been deepened through an agreement that focuses on port activities. The agreement is expected to be of mutual benefit to the two sides. DBS Television brings us more.
The Castries and Point Fortin Sister City Agreement was signed on May 5, 2019 to deepen economic relations between the main port in Trinidad and St. Lucia alike. The document was signed in the presence of officials and dignitaries, namely the MP for Port Fortin, Major General Edmund Dillon, Mayor Peterson Francis, and councillors from St. Lucia alike. The joint agreement is deemed as one which will augur well for both countries as CARICOM member states. The mayor for Port Fortin, Clyde James, shared elation with the cultural exchange which took place between the two countries alongside signing an MOU for future transactions.
It's a pleasure to be here in Castries, St. Lucia, here to do the cultural exchange and also to sign an MOU between the city of Castries, St. Lucia and the borough of Point Fortin. There's not only no fitting of me now to put the icing on the cake and making what their plans were reality. And I'm here in Castries this morning to execute that particular plan.
The mayor shortlisted the benefits which would arise from striking the deal with St. Lucia, since they are both tourism dependent. James also highlighted that the exchange of cultures from each island would leave visitors with an authentic experience to cross-Caribbean culture, which is the said aim of the twin deal.
Some of the benefits derive in the twinning of both Castries and the borough of Point Fortin basically be cultural and tourism, right? As you're well aware, St. Lucia is one of the leading tourism attractions in the Caribbean. Point Fortin is a borough, and we are looking to expand our base of activities and also things that we can do to improve the lives of the people of our borough.
The MP for Castries Central, Richard Frederick, shared delight in the twinning of the St. Lucia and Trinidad seaport. Frederick highlighted that there will be continuance in collaborations with OECS member states. As such, this initiative would augur well for the cultural marketing and economic growth of St. Lucia.
The mayor of Castries met with the mayor of the borough of Point Fortin in Trinidad and Tobago. Between with the cities, so we become almost like brother and sister. We exchange cultural activities. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, we twinned with a borough in Guadeloupe, and the next thing we knew, we had an ambulance at the port. Isn't that so?
109 lives were reportedly saved by the Belize Coast Guard since the start of this year. That is the number shared by Rear Admiral Elton Bennett as he reflected on his team's performance. According to Rear Admiral Bennett, the statistics reflect an excellent performance by the BCG as it relates to search and rescue operations as well as on law enforcement on the seas.
We've performed well in all areas of operations. For example, in search and rescue, we received 30 distress calls over the past year, and of those 30 distress calls, we saved 104 lives at sea. And that's very important. And this includes not only Belizean mariners, but mariners transiting Belizean sea spaces. You know, we run a very efficient search and rescue system here in Belize. And the Belize Coast Guard is a point agency that is responsible for maritime search and rescue. And we haven't lost a life after receiving a distress call. So we have a very good system in place where our operational readiness has been tested, and we've proven that we've been very well in that regard. In other areas as well, in protecting our marine environment or marine resources, over the past year we've made over $114,000 in contribution through fines into government coffers. Now, we don't like to use statistics to measure operational effectiveness, but those are just some of the figures that came to light at the end of this year. Another one of those very important operational results is the reduction of coastal piracy. So this is huge because a few years ago, Belize was plagued by coastal piracy. We're talking about firearms being used against mariners. We're talking of murders and different major incidents at sea resulting directly from piracy. That has been reduced to zero this year. There have been no death recorded out at sea as relates to coastal piracy. And we believe that has a lot to do with our strategy of being forward deployed and being aggressive in order to deter those criminal activities from occurring.
Delegates from Russia's ruling party unanimously backed President Vladimir Putin's bid for re-election at a party conference in Moscow on Sunday. This comes just a day after the Kremlin's leader's supporters formally nominated him to run in the 2024 presidential election as an independent.
Vladimir Putin is running for his fifth presidential term. Thanks to some constitutional amendments adopted back in 2020, he now has a right to remain in power for 12 more years until 2036. He's not running as a candidate for his ruling United Russia Party, even though he has its overwhelming support, but as an independent candidate. Earlier, he was supported by the majority of governors of Russian regions, as well as the Just Russia Party and also an activist group of voters consisting of some prominent Russian figures backed him as an independent candidate for running in the upcoming presidential elections in March 2024. The Russian Central Election Commission previously announced that the voting itself will be ongoing for 3 days, from March the 15th to March the 17th, 2024.
In sports, Empire Cricket Club are the champions of the 2023 BCA Elite Division. Playing in Bank Hall on the final day of the season yesterday, Empire captured the title at 106 points after beating YMPC by 9 wickets. YMPC resumed their second innings today in big trouble on 54 for 5 and were eventually dismissed for 98 in 26.4 overs. Shaquille Cumberbatch took 4 for 14 and Camry Boyce 3 for 42. Yakini Miller then hit 45 not out and Kevin Wickham an unbeaten 29 to secure the cup for Empire. Scores in the match: YMPC 224, 98 all out, Empire 227 for 8 declared and 96 for 1. Meantime, over at the Friendship ground, initial frontrunners Wildy had to settle for second place with 104 points after their match with Yorkshire ended in a draw. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce was there.
Decision day in the BCA's Elite Division at Friendship. Wildy batting in their second innings against Yorkshire. And what a way to begin our coverage. Shinaldo Taylor's middle stump is sent flying out of the ground by Shamari Mosley. What a delivery. Wildy 87 for 3. Mosley again, this time to Carlos Maynard. Dispatch over the mid-wicket region for a maximum, leaving this fielder to scratch his head in frustration. Neymar Bowden was the batsman in form, and here he is, lifting this one from Mosley down to the boundary for 4 runs. Bowden was enjoying this bowling from Mosley. That's 6 more. Bowden brought up his half-century in brilliant fashion, down on one knee, and that's an excellent shot. Wildy, 93 for 3. Akeem Nero is the new batsman, and he got the same treatment from Bowden. Straight back over his head and down the ground for 4. Bowden, however, had to go looking for a big shot and is caught by Armani Best at long off. He goes for 60. Wildy, 105 for 4. That wicket brought Jerome Jones to the crease, and Nero is punished. That's a massive 6. Wildy declaring at 124 for 4 with a lead of 180. After this maximum from Jones, that's another big one off Nero. Anwar Goodrich, Boys, CBC Sports.
Scores in the match: Wildy 213 for 9 declared and 127 for 4 declared. Yorkshire 157 all out and 19 without loss. Match drawn. It's time now to find out if this rainy pattern will continue. Today's weather. The pressure is 1010.8 millibars. Let's take a look at how it's on the outside again. The pressure is now 1010.8 millibars and the temperature is at 24.3 degrees Celsius. The humidity stands at 98% with the winds coming from the east-northeast at 22 kilometers per hour. It's presently cloudy with light showers. The seas are moderate to rough in open water with swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters and increasing. High tide will be at 19 minutes past 8 this morning and again tonight at 7 minutes past 8. The first low tide will be at 1:41 a.m. It's mostly cloudy with breaks of sunshine with the occasional intense showers, periods of rain, and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Tonight is expected to be mostly cloudy with breaks, with intense showers, periods of rain, and a very slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Well, that's the weather. That's today's morning report. Our next newscast comes to you at 12, Newsday on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via the radio network, 100.7 AM, FM 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. And this morning's newscast was brought to you by Jordan Supermarket. Time now for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, as you were hearing, there's a slight chance of some thunderstorms. I know there's lots of water out there. So I'm encouraging all of you who are not in front of your televisions but on your way to work just to be careful on the roads. You know how it goes when they are wet. Well, this morning we're going to be having lots in store for you. We're going to have some new books, some new songs, and we're also going to be talking about a research project being done by someone abroad and this whole Windrush situation. Now, we're also going to be talking to our HR specialist who's on board with us, you know, numerous times here on Morning Barbados, Joan Underwood. And she is a purpose-driven talent development specialist, and she's guided by certain principles. And those principles have now landed her with an award. Yes, she has received the Hermat HR Regional Champion Award at the individual level. And this is the first ever regional award of its kind for her work in human resources. So I want to say good morning to Joan, one of our regular contributors. How have you been?
I've been great. What about you, Wendy?
Great. Now, we know about HerMab. We know about your organization, which is managers. But what is HerMat?
HerMat is the Trinidad and Tobago version of HerMab here in Barbados. So it's the HR Management Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, you're a Bajan, you're working with businesses and companies here. Yes, Trinidad is just across the way, but what led you to that award?
Well, first of all, thank you for welcoming me as a Bajan. I'm actually Antiguan, married to a Bajan and living in Barbados, but born in Antigua. And my work is actually throughout the region. And it came as quite a surprise to me, actually, because, you know, you get up every day, you do what you have to do, you make your contribution. And when your peers decide to acknowledge and celebrate your work, it's a really gratifying and humbling experience. So I had no idea I was even nominated. I don't know who would have nominated me, but I received correspondence from my colleagues in Trinidad indicating first that I had been nominated, and then a few weeks later that I had been declared the winner of the first ever Regional HR Champion Award.
Now, what do you, in terms of the body of work that you present and the help that you give to various businesses, what for you are some of the things that you think may have put you in that champion chair?
Well, I think the book had quite a bit to do with it. The book has been doing quite well throughout the region. For example, the government of St. Lucia purchased the book and distributed it to a large swath of their middle managers. I have private entities that have done the same. There's some regional conglomerates that have issued the book to their managers as well. The University of the West Indies, there's some courses that use the book as a supplemental reading. So the book is a significant part of it. In terms of the public sector, a few years ago, I published a number of technical papers which were commissioned by the Inter-American Development Bank on the state of HR in the public service. And that covered 6 CARICOM countries. And those papers are now used as reference material, also guiding the work in public sector modernization and transformation. My work as a coach, I coach leaders from throughout the Caribbean. And having served on the executive committee for HerMab, spoken at several regional conferences, etc. So I think those are all elements which would have contributed to the body of work that has been acknowledged by my colleagues in Trinidad.
I want to go back to these papers that you publish about the state of HR. What's the general sentiment coming out where those 6 countries are concerned? Where are we in terms of how we manage our human resource?
Okay. So when I did that research, we looked at 2 elements of each of the primary functions of HR in the public service. The first is the level of maturity of the systems that were in place. And then the second was the extent to which the systems were effectively executed. And in a number of instances, the systems were very well designed on paper, but unfortunately not as well executed. So the compliance wasn't there. So for example, in Barbados, the performance management system was well designed. However, there was less than a 1/3 compliance rate. So, it happens sometimes. You develop policies and procedures, but you don't get implementation. And there are some countries which were low in maturity, both in terms of the design of the systems, and of course, if you haven't designed them, you can't implement them. But far too often, we saw that there were systems that had been designed, but were not compliant. Practitioners were not compliant. And one of the reasons that this is able to happen is that we do not focus sufficiently on accountability, holding people accountable for doing what is required of them in order to secure the successful management of human resources, both within public and private sectors.
Okay, that's a revelation there. Now, you said that the kit, the book, has been given by governments, etc. Individuals have also been reading it too. So can we, given that you're now a champion, can we look for another book on the horizon?
Oh, you're calling me out here. I'm actually working on another book, but it is not in the same genre as Manager's First Aid Kit. There's a novel that I'm currently working on as a tribute to my maternal grandmother. So once I get that squared away, then I will look at what's next in terms of HR, management, leadership, because I have been getting requests for more published work on leadership.
But given what you just told me about the stats and the issues of implementation, I'm thinking that maybe some direction as to how to implement and move it forward would be far more instrumental at this stage.
Yes, and that actually falls under the leadership umbrella as well, because part of the reason that we have this implementation deficit is related to how we lead. And specifically, how do we lead significant change initiative, transformational change? So, yeah, so it seems as if we're fleshing out the outline of the new book right here and right now, Wendy. Thank you for that input.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, having received the champion, working on a book as a tribute to your grandmother, what about the coaching? How much of that have you been able to do?
Well, the coaching continues, and I think that's the part of my work that probably gives me the most joy. Because when, as a coach, you work with someone and they have that breakthrough and they grow in confidence, for me, it's so gratifying. So, and my love language is words of affirmation. So when I hear from my coachees and they tell me how much of a difference it's made in their lives, that is really, really great validation for me. So I continue to coach. My target market with the coaching is primarily executive levels. I also deal with middle managers, persons who aspire to be at the executive level. About 80% of my coaching clients are females. I love working with women because the way we are socialized sometimes can serve as a disadvantage, and we have to deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. We don't necessarily understand the rules of engagement in a corporate environment. And so I'm able to help my coaching clients navigate that space successfully.
Explain to me quickly what imposter syndrome is.
Imposter syndrome occurs when the individual has a sense that they don't necessarily legitimately belong where they are, that they're faking it, and people might find out that they don't know what they're doing, that they don't really belong there. No, this has absolutely nothing to do with their actual ability. It's an internal sense of insecurity. So you may think, oh, if they only knew how confused I was, or that, I'm not as good as they think I am, I'd be exposed as a fraud. So again, it doesn't have anything to do with your actual capability. It's a form of insecurity. And so I work with clients to shift their mindset, to reframe, and to use evidence to dispute this fear, this insecurity, so that you show up as confident, assured, and that you acknowledge that I don't have to know everything. No one expects me to know everything. What I need to do is to show up as the best possible version of myself and to commit to continuing to learn and grow and develop as I move forward with both my personal and my professional life.
Could that be stemming from a situation maybe perhaps where the individual might be fully qualified on paper for the position, but they might believe because I've not spent that many years close to or near to ascending to this role, maybe people will think that way about me?
Yes, that obviously, yes, that's a consideration. But sometimes we even have people who you and I look at them and think, oh, they're at the peak of their game. They're so good at what they do. They too could be subject to imposter syndrome. And sometimes it goes back to something that may have happened, that may have been said to us in our childhood. A teacher or a parent or someone else that you looked up to could have had a careless word that you just internalized, and which has that adverse impact that you continue to carry even as an adult.
Okay, so if we are trying to build confidence in an individual here, and not just necessarily a manager, I know that's the level you tend to coach at in terms of leaders and so on, but you move through different stages and phases within a workplace, and you want to know that you're prepared. And it's one of the things people talk about a lot when we talk about succession planning, especially in smaller businesses, which we see tend to falter because nobody was really prepared to take over.
Yeah. And, fortunately, more and more organizations are coming to the awareness of what you just shared. So right now I'm in Antigua. I'm here working with a client. It's in the hospitality sector. And they have been tremendously successful over the years. Now the question of succession has come up because the folks who started the entity, who have been the driving force behind it, they're saying, hey, we would like to relax a bit. And we want to ensure that we can do so without having to worry about the quality of the services and the properties, etc., being compromised. And so they've invested in coaching for individual members of their leadership team. But they're not just stopping at that. So I'm working with the members of the leadership team, but we're also putting systems and structures in place to help to create a pipeline of talent, so that the business can ensure that it's sustainable over the long term. So talent development is how organizations, including the public sector, can help to ensure future viability by investing in the development of its people.
Now, speaking about this talent development, what would you say is the best path to take? Is it wise to have people do job swaps whereby I take on your role and you take on mine, so we have a better understanding of how each role functions? What's the best way to go in terms of developing that talent?
Okay, the short answer is that there's no single magic bullet or pill that you take. Rather, what you need is a menu of options, because everyone's career path will be a bit different. So it's important to have a comprehensive performance management system. It's important to have career guidance, career pathing. It's important to have job rotations, as you indicated, because if you're going to ultimately lead the entire organization, it's important to understand how the organization works. And their transferable skills. So from working in different departments, you get an overview of the entire business model, how it operates. Not that you need to be able to do everything, but you have to have an understanding and appreciation of how the pieces fit together. Coaching is an essential component. Giving, and this is really important now, giving people the opportunity to learn by doing in a safe environment. So the job attachments, the stretch projects, the mentoring, these all help to ensure that you have an effective succession plan in place. And having the conversations with your people, getting to know and understand them. What are their aspirations? Each of your employees should have an individual development plan so that the supervisor, the boss, the manager knows where the aspirations lie and can help them to systematically fill the gaps and to advance in their personal and professional development.
But are plans really done within businesses? Do people actually say, well, yes, I can see this particular skill set in Peter, that particular one in Joan, another one in Bob. He or she has these particular skills that can be transferred to another department. Are we really tracking and mapping the individuals within our workspace?
And that comes back to what we discussed previously when we spoke about those technical reports. Remember, I said some people have the systems on paper, but they don't implement them. And that's why accountability is so important. And it is indeed happening in some systems. You can see, and I remember when I was in corporate, it was so gratifying to be able to see the leaders. You know, I could sit back and check off the things that had been in their individual development plans in terms of, you know, formal education. So this is someone who, based on what they said they wanted to accomplish, we would have said it would be useful for you to get a certain certification, a certain designation. They got it. Then you could see the upward mobility that resulted from them having fulfilled that objective. So it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you're committed to doing the work. And we're not striving for perfection here. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. So to take incremental steps, the benefits will come in due course if you persevere. Start from where you are today. Make the commitment to invest in your people. Employees, make the commitment to invest in yourself, to become your own best advocate.
Okay.
Because sometimes employees abdicate responsibility to their employer. Oh, they should look out for me. They should give me the opportunity. You need to advocate for what you want, what you need to be professionally fulfilled.
And that is a wonderful note on which to end this morning, Joan. We all have to be fulfilled in some form or fashion. I want to thank you so much for joining us here this morning on Morning Barbados. And again, congratulations to you on that first ever regional award.
Thank you so much.
When morning back, you'll have your news preview.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroke Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back to recap the news now, with the women of the Commonwealth being the ones who are severely impacted by climate disasters. The Secretary General has hailed them as champions in the environmental fight. Baroness Patricia Scotland, speaking with Morning Report, says with every disaster and tragedy, women are most impacted.
If you look at every single disaster, the tragedy is women are disproportionately disadvantaged and affected, and so are their children. And what has been warming is if you look at the people who are fighting and talking effectively on climate, many of the climate warriors, they're women. And why? Because we are the mothers, we are the daughters, we are the sisters, and we are the ones who are watching our families disappear, and we're fighting for them. And I think you can't think of a better, bigger, more wonderful, eloquent champion of climate than the magnificent Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who isn't just a champion for Barbados and the Caribbean and the Commonwealth. I think she's become a global icon of the fight.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is seeking to purchase a laser soon to be able to better deal with kidney stones. Urologist at the QEH, Dr. Wanda Bellamy, says currently patients have to seek laser medical attention from private practices, but the plan is to change that. Dr. Bellamy, the only female urologist in Barbados, was speaking on Public Affairs 1-on-1 last evening, which aired on CBC TV8.
The ways how we can manage stones that are in the kidney or in the ureter, this is surgically now, not medically, but we can do endoscopic surgery, which means there's no cutting, and enter the urine tract with small cameras and laser those stones. Now, although I say that, unfortunately at the QEH, we have not yet attained a laser to do that. That is available in the private sector, however, and we will obtain a laser in the near future so that we can offer these services to our patients.
Attorney General of Barbados, Dale Marshall, says one of his goals for 2024 is to see a more responsive judiciary system. Speaking at his annual Christmas luncheon for senior citizens in his St. Joseph constituency, Mr. Marshall stated that the aim is to reduce the number of unheard cases pertaining to murder and firearms. He added that going into the new year, more procedures and legislation will be introduced to make the criminal system more efficient.
Set a target for, in the criminal arena, to try to reduce the number of murder trials, firearm trials, and so on, from the high level that we're at. And as you would know, we've introduced additional judges. We are about to introduce new criminal procedure rules, so that's on my wish list for next year. A new piece of legislation dealing with judge-alone trials. Other important piece of legislation are on the horizon.
Looking back at 2023 in general, he's happy with the progress law enforcement has made in the country.
I'm very pleased with the hard work of the law enforcement agencies in Barbados. They've really done a lot to help to keep things together. I think that Barbados has continue to weather the difficult storms. And, every time as a government we seem to feel that we are crossing the river, something happens to pull us back. But I think that as I look around my constituency, my constituents are seeing the benefit of a very hard-working government. They're seeing the benefit of a country that has begun to turn the corner in terms of our prosperity, in terms of our employment rate, in terms of job opportunities, education opportunities.
And that's your news recap. We'll take a break and be back with Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC's sales department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kia Lewis, General Practitioner and Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. Good nutrition starts at home. So this school year, I want you to consider packing healthy, nutritious snacks and lunches for your children to carry, rather than having them buy them at school.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back. I have some guests in studio with me this morning. They made it through the rain, and they're here to talk about a special project that they're working on, and that is all about looking at some research. The word Windrush would have been heard in our ears over and over again in relation to Britain and what our grandparents and forefathers would have done there. And all the legislation that's coming about now. And we're going to be having two special people with us, the Reverend Buddy Larrier. He is the General Secretary of the Non-State Actors Reparations Commission, and he will be joined by Miss Selina Green, a second-generation Barbadian from England, and she has come. Her mother is Barbadian, father Jamaican, so she's a true daughter of the diaspora. And she's been doing some research just to try to find out, about that Windrush period and the whole issue of reparations and where we need to be. And we're going to be having them. They're here with me. They're going to be discussing it. And you can find out maybe if what they're researching fits you, you can reach out to them. They'll give you all of the information that you can take forward. Following them, we'll all get to find out, like I said, about the book which has been done. So I'll go now to you, Mr. Larrier and Selina. Welcome back. And to you, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Barbados.
Now, you're second generation. Your parents are from Barbados and Jamaica. What has inspired in you this desire to want to do this research?
Well, I represent an organization in the UK called United Legal Access. What we've been doing for the last 4 years has been assisting those who are eligible for the Windrush Compensation Scheme, which was initiated by the Home Office in 2019. It was a bit of a struggle at first, as it was a very small organization. But what we realized was that there were people who needed assistance to complete the application forms. They were very long, complex forms that couldn't be filled on their own. So what we started to do was help those who had applied for the scheme. And we have now over 100 volunteer solicitors who are helping clients. But what really drove me to get involved was that I could see that in the Barbadian diaspora in the UK, there were victims who were affected by the Windrush scandal, and their lives had completely been destroyed. And I jumped on board because I really wanted to help. So I joined United Legal Access as a volunteer, and we began to reach out to the Barbadian diaspora through the help of the Barbados High Commission in the UK. And they so kindly allowed us to use their space to hold legal clinics so that those who needed help could come along and speak with us.
Okay. And how are you on board with this process, Reverend Laria?
Well, thanks very much for having us, and congratulations on 60th anniversary.
Thank you.
Yes, well, I am one of those Windrush generation who went to England in the 1960s. So I understand clearly the importance of the work that Miss Green and others are doing, yes, because let's say I had an important part to play in the formation of the program, because I was a victim of the policies that affected we as Caribbean, well, Commonwealth people, yes, and that when the time came when Prime Minister Theresa May apologized in 2018 for the policies that became known as the Windrush generation scandal. Yes, it affected the work that I have been doing, and it's an experience I have had while living in England.
Now, for those who may not necessarily be overly familiar with it or haven't been following it as much, what would you say, Selena, are some of the major issues that you found impacted individuals negatively, and how has the program, now that you're encouraging them to come in and sign up, how has that been working to help them with that process?
Yes, how many of the victims have been affected negatively? Actually, how the Windrush compensation scheme is built, it's built on categories that you can apply for under the scheme. We found that people who've come to us have been negatively impacted by loss of employment, housing, but one of the biggest categories has been their impact on life, which is one of the major categories under the scheme. And that's where a lot of people have been affected mentally and emotionally because of loss. It's also impacted family members as well. We've had victims who, it's been like a domino effect. You know, they've lost a job, they've had to then depend on family, and then, you know, their self-esteem has gone down, they can't get another job until they've been, their lawful status in the UK has been regularised as well. And with the help through United Legal Access, we help them on a pro bono basis. So we have qualified solicitors who are helping them. And it's such a long process because it's not just completing an application form. A lot of our clients have to go back in time to talk about what they went through. Many who had been deported and had to come back to the UK, they had to speak about the emotional effects of that as well. So we've also realised that we've had to help support them in that area. So it's a pretty long process. It's not just easy to complete the application forms. It can take months to gather evidence because the way that the compensation is awarded is through evidence that there has been a direct impact. So we've been helping them with that as well, and it's quite hard. It's been a very tough work.
And Ms. Hilaria, are you or are you connected to any individuals now on a personal level who would be looking to fill out those applications, and how have you been giving them support?
Well, this is why I am so encouraged that Ms. Green and her organization, and she in particular, have come to Barbados, because I have reached out to the Barbados government, and in particular the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because we know BBC have carried out research of people who have been sent back to the Caribbean through the Mental Health Act. And I wanted to find out from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs if they can help, yes, locate some Barbadians, because we know that they have been sent back. And I have not been getting the support. So now that Ms. Green is here doing that research to try to help people who have been victimized, it is really pleasing to me, because it fits into the work that I have been doing.
Now, if individuals who were part of this process need to reach out to you, how do they find you? And is it a situation where they have to get to Britain to be able to further the process, or can you allow them to do the forms remotely?
Yes, everything. We can certainly help remotely. We actually have a client on the island who we are assisting now. And the best way to reach out to us is by email. We have a Windrush email, which is windrush@unitedlegalaccess.com. We have a lot of inquiries every week, and we have people from not just Barbados, but we have people from Australia, New Zealand, United States, who have been affected as well. But my concern is the outreach work here on the island, and not many people know about the scheme who can be eligible for it. So when they reach out to us, we do explain the process, and we explain what scheme is about. We make sure we do an eligibility check first as well.
What does that entail?
It's just to make sure that, because the Home Office have a criteria to make sure that you're firstly from a Commonwealth country, and that you settled in the UK before 1988. We then take the process from there. So as long as they are from a Commonwealth country, we do ask them a few questions, just find out their background, what they went through as well. Because the Home Office does have the criteria that has to be met.
Okay.
So we make sure that they are eligible.
Now, can you give me that email again for our viewers who are interested?
Yes, it's windrush@unitedlegalaccess.com.
No spaces?
No spaces.
Okay, so that's it, windrush@unitedlegalaccess.com. Selena is doing great work. Are you yourself an attorney?
I'm not an attorney. I'm actually the project coordinator for United Legal Access with the Windrush work. Okay. So I actually help to coordinate and make sure everything is working properly.
That must be a task.
It's really hard, but the thing is, when you have a passion and you really want to help people, you don't see it as work. And because I'm helping the Barbadian diaspora as well, it's not work for me, it's love.
And coming to this lovely space, it wouldn't feel like work either.
Exactly. It's just that passion and that love. You know, we hear so many heartbreaking stories of people who served in the UK for years, decades, and then they lost everything. And it's our passion to make sure that they get the compensation that they deserve.
Okay. And yes, Reverend Lariat.
And what to add to what Ms. Green and her organization is doing, every second and fourth Sunday, there is an international program from England that takes people through the process as well. So it's just adding to the work. Okay. A lot of work is being done, but the people in Barbados and the Caribbean, a lot of them do not know that it's being done.
So how will your organization assist what Ms. Green is doing? What have you been doing to champion?
Okay, what I've been doing, I've written this small booklet, which explain how the windrush compensation came about, why the policies of the 1950s came into place, and in particular the 1959 Mental Health Act, which for the first time in history allow the British government to repatriate people who were born in the Caribbean as British citizens or subjects, to repatriate them back to the Caribbean. And right now, and you know this is coming over the news, that a lot of people who went up to England in the 50s and 60s came back. A lot of them are unemployed. They don't have no family connection because a lot of them went up early. And some of the crimes that are being committed are people who are struggling. Some of the mental health, and we know at one time in the 1970s and 80s, it was said all people coming back from England were mad, right across the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
So my organization...
And that must be a very terrible stigma for anyone to have to endure.
Yes. And if you was a child, you went up with your mother, you know, on your mother's passport. All your life you spent in England, and then something happened, and all of a sudden you're told you're not British, and you said, then where am I? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And your peers, some of the peers, did not explain, because they themselves might not have taken out British citizenship after the Caribbean countries became independent. Yeah, a lot of them did not take out British citizens. That's the early period, which it was free. After 1973, I think, you had to pay to take it out. And people said, no, I am not paying, because they didn't see no threat coming.
Understood.
And then the fall victim. So there's a lot of information. I have done my work based on my personal experience, and I have put 5 books on Amazon. And this is not on Amazon, but this one is to be made public, but free of charge.
That's what I was just about to ask.
Right.
If even though the book might be selling, if you've not considered depositing a copy with 1 or 2 of our libraries so people can actually get the information firsthand.
Okay. All the books that I have written have been launched at the library. Yes. And this has not been launched. This is a booklet. And it's a part 2. And what is important, and I want people to really see where I'm going, I have sent this book to the Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education, the Chief Education Authority, the Prime Minister of Barbados, the President of Barbados. You get where I'm going with this? And I'm informing them that this booklet should be given to each secondary school child so that they understand the transformation of Barbados from 1955, when Hurricane Janet transformed Barbados and start the movement, which is the highest movement or immigrants of Barbados out of Barbados since the Panama Canal.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yep.
So all that is...
It was a large migration.
Large migration. And that is the work that Ms. Green and her is trying to help people to understand that, look, immigration was a process. And you shouldn't be victimized. And if you had suffered, the government of England is saying, okay, we will compensate you for some of the suffering. Okay. So it's very, very important, the work that Ms. Green is doing.
Selena, are there any timestamps on this reparations money?
No, the Home Office actually don't have a deadline for the scheme now. There was, but it was removed by the Home Secretary a couple of years ago.
Okay, because of the length of time the process
It's such a lengthy process, because imagine you have clients who come to you, they don't know, they look at the form and it's a very, very thick form. It's about 44 pages long, with 12 categories that not all of them have to be applied under. But you can imagine someone who's maybe elderly, they look at the form and they're fearful. It's very complex for them to understand. So when we provide the legal help and the assistance, they can relax a bit. But however, there's going through the gathering of the evidence, there's making sure that the form is drafted correctly, and then there's the submission to the Home Office. And then they have to go through their assessment process. So it takes a while. And our work in that time is to make sure that they're okay, because sometimes they get discouraged. We've had clients who just think,
have you ever had somebody say, don't bother with it anymore?
We have. Yes, yeah, of course.
My form.
Yeah, of course. We get that all the time. We always try to encourage them, look, this is just the process. We always make sure we inform them at the beginning. It's not an overnight result. So it may be times that the Home Office need to come back to us and ask for more information.
Okay.
So it's a lengthy process, and we're there to support. So once we onboard a client, they're not on their own. We always have the help that we provide for them, and then the aftercare as well. Once a client has received their compensation, we make sure that they're taken care of as well.
How many have received to date through you?
Altogether, we have managed to get clients awarded altogether as a total over £1.6 million.
Ooh,
in terms of the Barbadian...
And divided up among like how many individuals?
Off the top of my head, I can't give that figure right now.
Understood. But it's still a bit.
It is quite a lot. And, you know, this is over a 2-3 year process.
And are the sums paid out, just as there are 12 categories, are the amounts also varied according to category, or is a lump sum for each person?
Right. What happens is when the Home Office receive the application, it goes through an initial assessment. If the Home Office see, based on evidence, that there's a direct impact, the applicant will get a direct £10,000 preliminary award straight away. But that doesn't mean that's the final reward. It means that because they could see the impact straight away, they award the money straight away. But then there's still other assessments that the application needs to be gone through, and then they will get a final award after that. That depends on the complexity of the case as well.
So you can have that prelim money and still some extra.
Yes, that's correct.
If there are other attendant things, like suppose with the 12 categories, I suffered in 7 of them. My payout would be
it could be pretty high. We had just to give you some information, we helped a client from Barbados who lives in the UK. He received this year just over £80,000, but it was a very complex situation. It wasn't the way that the Home Office assess everything takes time. And it's also based on evidence as well. It's based on evidence around the legal status of the person in the UK. So they have to have their UK status in the UK as well to be able to apply.
The papers need to be in order, as we say.
That's correct. So we help them with that first. So if they don't have the indefinite leave to remain, we help them get that first, and then they can apply for the scheme.
Okay. Mr. Larry, if you were to tell other Barbadians about it, what would you encourage them to do?
I would encourage them to try to understand that their lives could have been or might have been impacted because of the experience they have, and that they have a legal obligation to try to find out if they are entitled to money. In my personal case, and people could understand, when I found out that I was impacted on the policy and my personal experience, I started legal action in 1978.
Ooh, that's way back. But now you have Selena to help you get there.
Yeah, 45
Right.
years. My case is now in the Royal Court of Justice
Okay.
after 45 years.
But you know, when it's in the court, we can't fully discuss it with
No,
the sub judice case.
I just
So
give you that as information.
I want to thank
that
you.
People should
Mhm.
not give up. And
Yes.
finally, I'd like to donate this book to CBC through you.
I will graciously accept it
yeah.
on behalf of the corporation.
Right.
Okay.
Support all the work that
You're doing. I want to thank you so much for
Thank you for
joining me,
having me.
Selena Green
Thank you.
and the Reverend Buddy Laria, and best of luck to you,
Thank you
when
very
you're
much.
here. And also individuals, if you were impacted by Windrush, you know how to reach out to get your compensation. Morning Barbados, we'll be right back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Kids Karaoke is a platform for young aspiring singers to shine and express their musical abilities. Tune in to CBC TV 8 on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. and repeat it on Saturdays at 2 p.m. and enjoy the performances of these talented young singers.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack? Or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aa.grant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back, and it's time to turn the page because it's time for the next chapter. This morning with me, I have a husband and wife team of co-authors, and they are not new to writing and publishing. This is actually going to be their fourth installment in this series, Lily and Luca's Adventure on a Caribbean Cruise. That's what we're going to be talking about this morning, book number 4. I want to welcome Stacy and Gabrielle Welch. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, we're talking cruising. We're talking children. We're talking Caribbean cruise. Now, tell me about the setting that Lily and Luca are placed in, and if this is going to be a good adventure or this is going to be an adventure almost as close to the sinking of the Titanic. Will those children behave on board?
Yes, they look at actually pretty well behaved children. They're from Yorkshire, England. They have Barbadian heritage. They come and visit their family, their grandparents, and so on. And during the 2-month visit, they do all sorts of activities, including the cave, Bridgetown, an island tour, and then also a surprise Caribbean cruise organized by their grandparents. So the thing about Lily and Luca is that they're always curious and inquisitive, and so they want to visit new places, and this is pretty much an excuse to advertise different places and sites and attractions. And also then it's also educational because we include activities as well along the storyline, so you can learn as you have fun.
Okay, now that's interesting, Stacey, because as a graduate teacher, you're always thinking about, I guess, ways to keep children's minds
engaged
yes. over, and on new subjects and
yes.
topics. So, as opposed to just a story, what made you think about adding the puzzles and the quizzes and those types of things into the book?
Okay, well, our goal mainly was to make reading fun and enjoyable for children. And we decided that it would be cool to have these interactive activities because it would keep the children focused, as well as also tap into some skills that can help them, such as comprehension skills, routine skills, etc. So it was our idea to put the activities in so that as they read the story, and it's a story that they can't just read in one day, it's something that they can go back to. So while we put the worksheets like the crossword, the quiz, the spelling bees, etc., it's making it fun for them. And they can also do it with their family members and their siblings. So it's engaging them, keeping them focused, and in the same sense of it, they're actually picking up some certain skills like comprehension, like I said, and retention skills, etc.
Okay. Can I see what Lily and Luke look like?
Absolutely.
Okay, they're smiling quite happily there on that boat. Happy
Yes.
for their vacation. Now, as siblings, what's their age level? Or they're twins?
Yeah, they're twins,
Okay.
Lily and Luca, and they're 11 years old.
Okay.
So basically, it was a gift for their 11th birthday. It was a gift to visit their grandparents, who they're accustomed seeing on the internet. So it was a gift for them to come to Barbados, and on their trip here to Barbados, they went to different adventures.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, how do you script in those adventures, Gabriel? Because I know your bilingual tours, that's your forte. How do you weave that into the book?
Okay, well, the script is mostly like well, she's the genius behind the script.
Okay.
But my idea was mostly like more like a descriptive adventure. Say, okay, they're doing this, they're doing that. We keep it simple, and we still give some details and a little bit maybe some history in some cases and different things like that, right? But it's mostly them discovering. So the script is more like cater to discovery, right? So to keep you interested, so that you may want to go to that place and know more about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the places, Stacey?
Oh, well, in our fourth book, Lily and Luca's Adventure on the Caribbean Cruise, they visited 4 beautiful countries in the Caribbean. So they've gone to Tobago, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, the French island of Guadeloupe, St. Kitts.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just several Caribbean islands they visit in this book.
And as each one unfolded for them, how did they translate their experiences in the different islands?
Well, as they enter into the different ports, etc., they have gone to the exciting attractions. So, for example, in Grenada, we tried to focus more on the history of the country. So they went to the chocolate museum factory. So they learned how chocolate is made. They even tried to get to taste the chocolate. They also went to the spice market. Let's say, for example, like Tobago, they did more of the adventurous stuff. So they went surfing and scuba diving. You know, they get to swim the turtles. They get know a little bit about the coral reef. So that's the educational part. And for places like St. Lucia, they went to the Pitons, so that's another UNESCO heritage site in St. Lucia, and they also visited. There's so many places. Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of finding the book now, where can we get it? And is it able to, would you say it stands alone on its own very well, or would you encourage people to get all 4 volumes?
Oh yeah, I would definitely encourage people to get all 4 volumes. But no, you don't have to have read one to read the other. But still, I strongly recommend people to get all, because, well, why would you only get one adventure? Get all, man. Like,
it's true. Enjoy life.
Yes, man.
Adventure after adventure after
Exactly.
adventure.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's great to see, because a lot of the times the stories for children are not necessarily things that they themselves might do, but how adults see a children's world, as opposed to it being the child's point of view. And I guess you're able to translate that well, Stacey, given that you are a teacher and you understand from those little ones in your classroom what they think, what they go through, etc., and then you can put it on the page.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Basically, we know that the Caribbean cruise, mostly adults would do cruises, and at some point, if they have children, they'll take children along the way. But sometimes it's good for children to experience these things on their own, you know, because it's something that they don't have to wait till they become an adult to do. So that's why we thought about having Lily and Luca on a cruise with their family, because we are also trying to encourage, you know, the bonding, family bonding with parents and siblings, and even their grandparents went along with them on the trip. So that was our goal.
Okay, but that's interesting, because it's not then just about the adventure, but we're also teaching children some finer points of life,
some
in
concepts
terms
of love and togetherness and etc.
and sharing,
And even along the way, they get to meet other persons on cruises. So
Okay.
they're developing friendships with other people from other countries as well.
Okay, I hope they're not being encouraged to be overly friendly, though, because we still have to remember there's stranger danger. Right.
No, they're not overly friendly, no.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And I think you asked about the locations for the
Yes, for the
bus
book.
before. Okay,
Mhm.
well, there's several stores.
Okay.
Locally that you can purchase the books from. We have Yui Bookshop, Nafe Creations, that's number 7, Pelican Craft Center, Nola's Collection at Mango Bay, Regan's Happy Place, Harson's Cave Eco Adventure Park, Flower Forest Botanical Garden, Best of Barbados, all locations.
So all then, because what it's sounding like now is that most of the tourism sites that you have featured are actually in there. And either one of you can take this next question. In terms, because England is one of our largest source markets, right? In terms of the text and say giving it as a gift, would you say that it would encourage more individuals to want to do family holidays here and in the other Caribbean islands mentioned in the book?
Absolutely. And the reason for that, I mean, like, this is definitely about advertising Barbados and the Caribbean. So the goal is not just to educate and entertain children, but it's also to get people to come here. So it's definitely catered towards that. So, like, yeah, so we're doing a lot of advertising, so we should work together.
Yes, yes. Can I perhaps just read a quick passage?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see what they get up to on this cruise, and if maybe I can spell some of these words and do this worksheet. Oh, back in Barbados, Lily and Luca agreed to get a special gift for Grandma Rose's birthday. Okay, so we have souvenir shopping included there. We have to decode words according to letters and spell. Oh, this is quite interesting.
Thank you.
Let me see what's my first word. The number 9. You know when the eyes aren't that good. And this is interesting how you've mixed it up. Normally you would want to go in sequence, but this is quite interesting. So 9 would be Y, then we go to 23, which is O. So Y-O. Let me see if I can find 19.
That would take her well.
U. And 3 is R. Okay, so your first
Okay.
word, and then we go. Oh, look, no. So I can understand why you said you're not gonna do it in one read.
Yes,
That you have
yes.
to pick it up and go at it again.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is really, really good. They're happy with the captain. They're yeah. All the adventures, the rock climbing, picture taking, and also the mentioning of the history of
Yes.
the various sites with UNESCO, etc. We have them enjoying one of the on board shows. This is quite interesting. Yeah, the facts about the various countries, etc. I think the tourist boards need to see you all and what you're doing for their countries. Barbados, well, we see you because we've had you on the show, so we know, what you're looking to do for us and for the children. So in terms of now the next phase, are we going to be continuing with Lily and Luca, or is there another book that you two have in mind that you're looking at? Because you've done 4 for them, right? And what are we looking at next?
Well, first I want to say that this is the collection gift box where you have the 4 books in the series available from the authors.
Okay.
Yes. And in terms of our next project, I'll let Gabriel speak about that.
Sure.
Okay, we have a big project, but we don't want to reveal too much about it because sadly, every time that there's something good, you have other people that like to
steal it away. Okay, got
So we're going to do it and we're going to bring it. But so, yes, Lily and Luca is not just Lily and Luca's adventures. We also going to, go to different directions and still involve Lily and Luca, but different scenarios, different stories, and we also have other projects like other characters, other graphic novels that speaks about different political issues and different things like that.
Okay, that's an entirely different realm there.
Yeah, so Gapsy Productions is more than Lily and Luca's adventures. So the work is always there to be done, and there's always more to do. And
how do you juggle it? Home, family, writing, work. How do you juggle it and make it happen?
I would say with the grace of God. He has strengthened us, and despite we have other commitments, I'm just going to say that it's supernatural, and He helps us. God helps us, I must say. But we juggle it pretty well. We're still smiling. We're not worn out. We're not exhausted.
Yeah.
I guess because we love what we're doing. It's our passion, and because of that, it makes it so easy for us. So nothing is really neglected in our life, actually.
That is wonderful to know. And you said God does it, so that's who you put in front always. But I actually like how the book is laid out because it makes it easy for them. And even though the story is about 11-year-olds, I can still see a few 7s and so on who I know being able to read the book, get the message, and move from there.
Yeah, our parents can also read to the younger ones as well, because we know books don't spoil.
No, they don't.
And because it's so illustrated, beautifully illustrated, they can look at the pictures and the color in the book,
but
etc.
not just the illustrations, but the images are of us and who we are.
Yes,
so many little
representation.
ones can open this book and see themselves because we have all the various Caribbean nationalities being seen and recognized in there, and recognition is important for children from a young age. I want to thank you both for joining me this morning.
Thank you as well.
With Lily and Luca, and I'm happy that they're adventuring. Maybe we'll get to hear about them at Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe we can get a Lily and Luca Caribbean Christmas kind of situation going on too, because it is the festive time.
Yes.
So I want to wish you both happy holidays.
Thank you.
And
Merry
best of luck on Lily and Luca.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Are you a youth group, 4-H club, school, Cub Scout, or Brownie Pack? Or any organization or club with children ages 4 to 11 years? If yes is the answer, then we at Fun School, we're looking for you. Let's have fun singing, dancing, listening to amazing stories, doing craft, and so much more. I'm such a kid at heart. But to be part of this fun and exciting new season of Fun School, just simply send an email to Alicia Alves Grant at aagrant@cbc.bb for further details. Fun School is back, and we're looking for you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, this morning I got some books to keep my company. Yes, I love reading, but I also love music. Christmas music when it's done in a different styling. And that's what you're going to hear right now. Together this Christmas, 2 Mile Hill.
How you keeping so long? No, I ain't seen ya. Can't believe how the time does fly. And now we celebrate this season. Can't believe how the year gone by. Christmas is something special, full of love, full of dreams, full of joy. One thing can make it better. Yeah. Open up the door and I get my present earlier. I ain't want no more than to see you in a hurry. Tell you that I love you and you never got to worry. First thing on my list, I hope we could be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. Nothing could be better this Christmas. Make it last forever, then we press rewind. We should be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. I only got one wish, to be together this Christmas. Home is where your heart is. And family is everything. Every moment that we share is a gift. Be near if we wish. And revel in the feeling that it brings. Revel in the carols that we sing. Trim the tree together and ting. Wrap you up in tinsel. Wait so long for this, yeah. Open up the door and I get my present earlier. I ain't want no more than to see you in a hurry. Tell you that I love you and you never got to worry. First thing on my list, I hope we could be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. Nothing could be better this Christmas. Make it last forever and we press rewind. We should be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. I only got one wish, to be together this Christmas. We should be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. Nothing could be better this Christmas. Make it last forever and we press rewind. We should be together this Christmas. Together this Christmas time. I only got one wish,
And that's what it is about at Christmas time, being together with those you love, wearing the matching pajamas and enjoying it. I'm not going to be doing that one, but it is something that many enjoy, and I encourage you, come together, enjoy the season together. Now, before Morning Barbados wraps up, tomorrow we will be having our conversations on CARICOM with Ambassador David Commichon. He was very busy during the course of this week with all that was going on, so we'll be talking to him. We will also be revisiting the whole idea of the grief and loss at this time of year, because Christmas isn't always about joy for all of us. There's some of us for whom it is a sad period because of something which may have taken place in and around that time. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at on tomorrow's show, Morning Barbados. Remember, folks, it's raining out there. Be careful on the roads. Make sure and take your umbrella. Thanks for joining me here. And I want to say happy and blessed morning to my guy Jason, who swore that the rain would have kept me snoozing this morning. But Jason, I'm here. So I win the bet. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us, all of you online. Have a brilliant day.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Oh, hi. My name is Stacia Whitaker, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and a member of the Heart and Stroll Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. My motto is, when in doubt, leave it out, and it goes for when I'm eating, because sometimes things have ingredients that we're not sure of, and I like to keep it simple. And if I'm eating something and I'm not sure the ingredients in that particular thing, then I choose to leave it out. So I keep my snacking simple with fruit, nuts, or just water. It's easy to remember, there's no added ingredients, and it's also very nutritious. So remember, childhood obesity is real, so choose healthier alternatives. And when in doubt, leave it out.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.